Hello everyone, my name is Keith Knight.
And I am Ruth Wicker. Welcome to Stratoscene, your source for authentic created content for digital and social media professionals.
On today's episode, we'll be discussing parasocial relationships and the pros and cons for a brand to build off of these relationships.
In our tips and tools section, we'll get a hands-on demonstration of A and B testing.
Let's go to our question of the day, which is going to be, is it better for brands to feel personal and relatable to maintain a professional image? I got the chance to go around and ask some people on the street and were able to see how many people buy products based on this question. Let's go check it out. Hey everyone, I'm here in the Man Center and I'm going to be asking people one question. Have they purchased anything from sponsorships from social media? Let's go see what people have to say. Have you guys ever purchased anything online through a social media content creator, something that they were sponsoring?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either. I bought like fishing stuff from that was pushed by YouTubers, so I'd say yes. Yeah.
Yes, actually.
What'd you buy?
I bought Home Chef.
I don't spend a lot of time on social media, and I don't really pay attention to sponsorships or ads.
I think the caveman brain sees big numbers, big amount of viewers, big amount of subscribers, and goes, that guy's trustworthy. You know what I mean? Number equals trustworthiness, even though that's a falsehood.
And that's it for here. We're going to go back up to the studio and we'll talk more about this topic about parasocial relationships and how they affect us.
These answers provided some insight into sponsorships and parasocial relationships, setting the stage for a deeper dive in today's question of the day. Is it better for a brand to feel personal or more formal?
With the rise of social media, there are hundreds of brands out there trying to fight for our attention and fighting for us to listen to them.
Parasocial relationships shape the way that we interact with brands, but how do influencers influence consumer behavior? Are people more likely to support a company that feels like a friend, or do they prefer a more traditional professional approach? Let's take a closer look. I was able to interview Brother Bean, a communications professor here at Brigham Young University, Idaho. Let's hear what he had to say.
In recent years, brands are shifting towards using micro-influencers, or influencers with 10 to 100,000 followers, and user-generated content as a strategic move to cultivate a credible brand image. Micro-influencers are a valuable resource for brands looking to build up their image. A Stackla survey revealed that 79% of consumers acknowledge the impact of user-generated content on their purchasing decisions. Micro-influencers have direct access to hard-to-reach markets because their audience is so niche. In 2024, Forbes wrote that micro-influencers offer a cost-effective alternative to large-scale brand deals, providing a personalized campaign with a higher return on investment. They also reported that micro-influencers have higher engagement rates, leading to a successful influencer campaign. Bloom Nutrition, a wellness brand, has found incredible success via micro-influencers on TikTok. They focused their campaign on health-conscious females and collaborated with content creators who matched their message. Today, there are many ways to reach your audience beyond traditional marketing, including micro-influencers. For Stratoscene, I'm Whitney Libbert.
I was able to interview Brother Bean, a communications professor here at Brigham Young University. Let's hear what he had to say.
All right, today we have Brother Bean with us, and we're going to talk about parasocial relationships within branding. To start us off, how would you describe or define a parasocial relationship in the world of social media marketing?
Well, my understanding is a parasocial relationship is a relationship in which a person feels connected to another person, but that person has no idea that the original person even exists. And so so relationship is when people are connected to each other, and para means closely related to, quasi, kind of, approaching. And so by definition, this is kind of a relationship. And so when it comes to branding, I'd say this is a relationship that people have with a brand or a personality, even if the brand or the personality doesn't know that the consumer or the other side is even there. Although they genuinely know that they're there, but not intimately or personally.
All right. Thank you. What makes an influencer's connection with their audience feel genuine instead of just like another paid sponsorship?
Well, I think that the change in technology has really advanced that opportunity for the person to feel like they're connected to the influencer. So back in the day, radio and television, and this all kind of started back with soap operas when people would watch soap operas and felt like they were connected. But the soap opera personality was acting to another actor on stage, and people became connected to them. Now, an influencer can change their attention from the actor that they're speaking to on screen. And now I can address the camera and speak directly to that person that I will never, ever see. But the person seeing it sees their eyes, thinks that they're making a connection. And so to me, the difference is the technology has really allowed people in an influencing role to look at the camera, to look at the person and act as though they really genuinely care about them, even though they're never going to interact with them.
How do influencers shape the way that people form parasocial relationships with brands?
You say that again.
How do influencers shape the way people form a parasocial relationship with a brand?
So I think just that thing that what I just described, them talking to the camera, them telling their story to the camera, sharing, sometimes I'm going to share a secret, intimate detail with you. And it almost feels as though you're the only one who knows, even though everyone is watching that person is getting that same information. So there is an intentional attempt by the influencer to make that connection with the audience. And so then what happens is the person who identifies with the influencer then begins to identify with all of the items that they're trying to sponsor or sell or advertise.
Do you think that a person recognizes that they're building a parasocial relationship, or is it more subconsciously?
Yeah, I don't think they do. Most people don't even know the term parasocial relationship. And so I think what they might think that they're building a relationship with the individual, but I don't think they're saying, oh, I'm forming a parasocial relationship right now. It's more of an academic term. It's more of a term that's used in the industry where people might say, hey, if we can create a parasocial relationship, we can push this brand, we can push this product on the audience. And I don't think that the consumer or the person who's on the other side of that parasocial relationship knows that they're in that relationship thing. I mean, they think they're in a relationship for sure. And some of it's just normal. Like, I follow Utah State basketball, but I don't really consider myself having a relationship with them. But I do get, I get notifications when they're playing. Sometimes they'll talk about things they're doing off court. Every now and then, of course, there's going to be brand placement within those. But I don't really see it as a relationship. Some people may see it as some people call themselves Swifties, or even within the church, I've heard people call themselves Inklings as they identify with Sister Freeman, and so they see it as a relationship with the person. I don't know if Taylor Swift knows who they are.
Yeah.
She cares, but I don't know if she cares about them intimately or if she cares about them in a brand awareness, like, hey, how are they going to help me build, my brand, my influence? So I can't speak for Taylor Swift.
Do sponsorships and these parasocial relationships build long-term loyalty with a brand, or is it more just like short-term, like sales?
I think you get both, but I think if a brand is trying to create a parasocial relationship, if they want people to identify with a persona, and if they want the customer, I'm going to call them a customer for ease, if they want the customer to feel like they're in a relationship, then they will get long-term brand loyalty. So for me, like, for example, I think Toyota makes a great product. So I own a number of Toyota vehicles. I do not follow Toyota in any way, shape, or form. So for me, it's not a parasocial relationship. I just like the product. But there are people who would see a person, an influencer, and they would say, oh, they like that thing, therefore I will buy that thing. And then if that individual on the corporate side likes something else, then that person might then follow whatever they're promoting, or whatever they're trying to sell within the company. So I think sometimes it's short term, like, oh, I see a person, they advertise something, I know that person from the movies, and I'll try it because they said something about it. But for other people, it's really, they're going to buy everything that person buys. They're going to try and recreate their life so they can emulate who they are.
Do you think a lot of people will form a relationship with an influencer that does these sponsorships and will only buy from that company because the influencer sponsored it?
Oh, that's a hard question. I don't know if they only buy it because they sponsor it. I would say they're more likely to. So yeah, if there's an influencer, if I'm, if I really like, I like Kellen Moore, and he just got hired as the New Orleans head coach, a football head coach. I like him as an individual because he played for Boise State. He's worked his way up. So maybe he'll have an influence, so I'm more likely to, but I don't know if that's the only reason why people, but that part I couldn't tell. I'd have to do more.
Yeah.
Have to do more.
If an influencer that's sponsoring a brand gets caught up in some sort of controversy, people start hating them, how does a brand recover from that?
Generally, the brand drops them. So yeah, you see that a lot. If all of a sudden, so Tiger Woods, I don't know that he wasn't the same type of influencer that we think of, but because of his sports success, he has a lot of followers and people really like him. And when he got into his controversy, people, Gatorade's like, we're going to distance ourselves from you. Kobe Bryant, there were accusations made against him doing some inappropriate things, and his sponsors started to drop him. So a lot of sponsors will drop or postpone or put on hold their sponsorship until they can find out and sort out what's happening. And then after that, then they have to do an image restoration strategy. And the image restoration strategy is twofold. One, the brand itself has to restore their image of trust with the consumer. And if they want to bring that person back, then they have to restore that person's image as well. So I think Gatorade dropped, well, I don't know if they dropped, but they postponed and put on hold some of Tiger Woods' sponsorships, but he got them back. I mean, he was, as 3 years ago, he was as popular as he'd ever been. So the brand has to kind of do a twofold recovery of that. Now, there are certain personalities who do things that are so egregious that, sponsorships just end. And the brand will come out and say, we have severed our relationship with this individual.
Is it like super risky to actually go down the influencer sponsorship route because of controversy?
I don't know if it's super risky, but if you put a lot of trust in an individual to be the name and face of your company, then whatever they do it comes back to your company, whatever that is. And so there is risk, absolutely. And that's why they have a lot of contracts. These are things you can do. These are things you can't do. These are things you can say. These are things you can't say. So
smaller influencers, like very niche micro influencers, are they better to sponsor a brand rather than celebrities who have a little bit bigger of a following so they can get into the niche audiences? If
you have a niche product, I think you want a niche, relationship, because if there's certain people I just don't know. This is going to sound so weird, but Kendrick Lamar, I think he performed at halftime. I don't even know who the guy is. Okay. Now, everybody said, well, he broke records. More people watched him than watched Michael Jackson, the Super Bowl. We could also look at, well, what was the overall population of the world at the time Michael Jackson did it versus now? So percentage wise, maybe Michael Jackson still had more percentage wise. But Kendrick Lamar, I think, am I saying his name right? Do you guys know? It's Kendrick Lamar. Okay. You probably know Kendrick Lamar more than I do. I'm not even saying he's niche, but if I don't know a person, they're not going to have an influence on me. But if someone really likes his music or likes what he does, then all of a sudden he is going to gain followers. Okay. Or for example, if Brad Wilcox is on a social media post, I'll bet you there are very few non-members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints who are going to follow him because he's niche.
Yeah.
He's part of the church. But members of the church are going to watch him, and he's going to have a greater influence because we know who he is versus some big celebrity. Okay? Not saying the celebrity couldn't, because you have Donnie Marie, they're big time names in the LDS community. Gladys, Knight, a big name, that's out there that people around the world know, but then we also know them. So she would have more influence on a wide scope versus Brad Wilcox.
Thank you so much for doing
Sure.
this for us.
Okay.
I really appreciate it.
We will now head into our tips and tools section with Jenna. She will be demonstrating how to use A and B testing on Meta Business Suite.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to Stratazine's Tips and Tools segment. Today we're exploring how to use A and B testing on Facebook to learn how to maximize your content for your audience.
A and B testing allows for a brand to test what kinds of content their audience is most interested in by allowing them to run 2 posts at the same time and see which post gains more traction. You will start by navigating to the Meta Business Suite. Scroll down and click on the section titled Content, and then click on A and B testing. I've created 2 posts, and I want to see whether a longer caption with fewer hashtags or shorter caption with more hashtags gains more traction. I'm going to upload my post and fill in the content and runtime, and then hit save.
That's it. Once Meta has processed your posts, it will run the testing and then save the best performing post to your feed. By using this tool, you can learn more about your audience and apply that to future content. Stay tuned for more tips and tools in next week's episode.
All right, thank you for that, Jenna. The time has finally come to answer that question of the day. Ruth, what is the answer for the question of the day?
Yes, absolutely yes. Building a strong brand through parasocial relationships is now more important than ever. People don't want to just connect, just don't want to buy products. They want to connect with a company on a very personal level. Without parasocial relationships, a brand can feel distant and forgettable, making it harder to keep loyal customers. Consumers expect brands to feel authentic and relatable. While quality products are extremely important, people are often drawn to brands that reflect their values, interests, and the experiences. A brand that feels human fosters trust, encourages engagement, and creates a sense of community, all of which help build long-term loyalty. So yes, it's absolutely necessary for a brand to build parasocial relationships. A brand that connects with people on a deeper level, stands out in a crowded market, and builds relationships that last.
And that's going to do it for this episode. Join us next time where we'll be talking about increasing your followers on Instagram as a new content creator.